Williamson is 10 times the world champion. Bax and Stupilis, they've done it again. Unbelievable. Marvin van Lukener certainly deserves the red plate. And what an incredible sport this is. Fast, high and spectacular. Unbelievable. The season kicked off in the deep sand of Lommel. This was home ground for the reigning champions, Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart. They did not disappoint and took overall victory. No race wins yet, but that would change. Then it was off to Spain, where Valentin Giraud took race 1 glory to the delight of his new German passenger, Andres Haller. Etienne Bax and Kasper Stupilis wanted that red plate, but their day would come. Round 3 in Holland, and that sealed the deal for Bax and Stupilis. Double race wins and overall victory meant the red plate was here to stay on the 82 bike, or was it? Kramelin in the Czech Republic, and the battle was really on. Double winners here last year, Van Luken and Van den Bogart mastered nightmare weather conditions, but they pulled off double victories. Etienne Bax had problems. Round 5 in the Ukraine was all Bax and Stupilis with double wins. Marvin and Ben lost the red plate again. Finally, we were in Plomion in France, where local hero Valentin Giraud and Andres Haller took victory. Van Luken and his passenger parted company with the young Belgian crashing out big time. It was Bax and Dierkins on the podium with Giraud on the top step. Then on to Kivioli in Estonia, where the track brought consolation to Van Lukener, but also a rock in the face.
Yeah, we make it at the end on a good result, so it was, yeah, okay.
Markelo in Holland was notable for 2 things: a career-ending crash for Valentin Giraud and double delight for Etienne Bax and Kasper Stupilis.
Winning double is always good, and we get again 6 points on the concurrence, so it was a good weekend.
Was Stressbessen back in Germany the turning point for Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart? I wonder.
The feeling on the bike is back good again, so yeah, we're ready to fight back.
The heat of Stelpa in Latvia took its toll on everyone, and with over 300 jumps each race, only the fittest would succeed. Double hole shots gave Anna Jerkins and Robbie Bax 1 win and 1 second place. And despite Etienne Bax's best efforts, it was overall victory for the first time for the hole shot kings, Jerkins and Bax.
From Latvia, we moved to round 11 in Switzerland for the Rudersberg race, and it was very much the story of 2 men. It was the red plate holders Etienne Bax and Kasper Stupilis who took home both race victories and the 50 points to further extend their championship lead. Round 12 in the championship moved to Belgium in Hoik, and it was a good race and entire weekend for Jake Brown and Joe Millard.
Could not believe it. It was just like a dream come true, really, you know. So yeah.
So a good weekend for Jake Brown and Joe Millard. Is an even better one for the local heroes Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart, as they took home 50 points to try and catch Etienne Bax. Round 13, and we move to Gugnon in France, and despite the best efforts of Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart, it was championship delight for number 82 Etienne Bax and Kasper Stupilis, as they were crowned 2019 world champions. So here we are then, Sidecarcross fans. This is the 14th and final round of the 2019 edition of the World Championship. We are here in Rudersberg, Germany, about 30 kilometers away from the city of Stuttgart in southern West Germany. And we'll have some great racing from this circuit, I'm sure. So there you can see a map of the circuit. 1.62 kilometers is the final circuit of this year's calendar. It's provided some good racing so far. Let's see how it goes next time out. Everybody putting their way towards the front of the machine to get the best drive possible, and the gates go down. Etienne Bax off the left-hand side, looks like he's got good drive, but on the inside it is Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain. They have put themselves up the inside, and they've got the whole shot. Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart up there into second place. The French pairing down there in third as well. Jake Brown and Joe Millard from their right-hand start position, not quite making the most of it at the moment. They're in fourth place. It looks like we've got a problem for Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax. Arnie had his hand up as he comes around the left-hander. They pulled off.
Looks as though the cutout came out. There is a cutout, a deadman's lanyard if you like. Bax is then through on Millard and Brown. So Bax now then after the next spot. Let's hope Jake can tag on the back of Bax's shirt tails and follow him through.
Well in front at the moment, but then we've got Le Breton, Bax, Brown, as quick as you can say, as they come over that big tabletop jump and into the final part of the circuit. We've got this tight right-hander over the jump, and Le Breton, sure, he looks so strong to try and make a move back at the inside of Bax, but there wasn't enough room this time around.
Yeah, Bax just sized him up into that turn.
You just see the amount of speed that Hermans was carrying as they head into the quick right-hander. They've used the berm to try and go round the outside of the number 98 machine, and they have enough speed to make their way all the way around the outside, using the berm to their advantage, and they've managed to promote themselves up another place yet again. So Compilati still fending off the number 7 pairing of Varick and Didas. Into the final part of the circuit we go. There's the Italian and Frenchman. Varick is going to try and go to the inside. Oh, he made that wrong. There's Loris Didas. He's not happy with that.
Laris is not happy with that. So Varick then has got in front of the Italian-French pairing. So Zeno, past couple of Grand Prix, have had some fantastic rides.
It looks as though Julian and Sam Veldman have got a problem. They're going slowly. They're coasting around the outside.
Whether it's Sam's, I expect the pace was very high for Sam.
Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain, they have 3 corners left. Of course, going slowly there as well.
It looks as though it's a left chair as well, but I'll try and find out who that was. Well, in fact, there's
Paul Horton or Dan Foden.
Paul Horton or Dan Foden, so possibly one of those.
This will be all about Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain, though, as they power their way over the ski jump to take their first ever, or this year at least, victory. You can see how happy and how much it means to them as they congratulate each other on their performance. So they will be happy with the 25 points. Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart come home in second place. In the end, it was 8.3 seconds, the advantage for Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain. Etienne Bax and Kasper Stupelis, despite their best efforts, they still finish in third place. So. Okay, so that was race 1. It's a brilliant and dominant display from Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain. They get the first choice of their gates again, ahead of Jake Brown and Joe Millard, who finished 4th in the earlier race. Etienne Bax and Kasper Stupelis, they weren't 100% happy with their performance earlier. They felt as though they had enough speed to overcome Marvin van Lukener. You can see him there down in 6th place, behind Arnie Deakins and Kern Hermans. Christoph and Maxime Kusch, the Swiss pairing, in 7th. And it's ahead of Kurt Varick, Loris Didas, Gert van Verven, Larry Kunas. Then rounding out the top 10 is Julian and Sam Veldman. Sam Veldman, who's injured in the first race, I believe, over the rollers. I think he just lost balance or something like that. He sustained a fair amount of injury over the rolling jumps. We'll have to see if he's ready to go in race 2. We've got Bastien Thomas and Rodolphe Le Breton. They made a good start in the previous race. They dropped down the order ever so slightly down into 10th. They'll be looking to repeat their earlier pace. Dan Foden and Paul Horton there in 13th, just behind Kolenchek and Hejal. It's Kinge, Gray, Kompalati and Chopin in top 15 also. The Estonian pairing of number 26, Normak and Kaseselu. They are in 21st, ahead of Adrian Peter and Miroslav Lukau. And it's the Belgian pairing of Primer and Lange, just ahead of their Belgian counterparts, Sieber and Kloos. And first of the last chance was Marco Heinzer and Rudy Betschart. They had an issue in their qualifying race, and that meant that they were put into the last chance race, as you can see. But they are 25th choice for the gates, just been ahead of the Rock pairing. And it's Hoffman, Strauss, Van der Lagermaat, Van Haal, Hamad Villains, and then the Czech pairing of Jan and Pavel Bukau. So big crowds here on the bankings in Rudersberg for the what will be the final race of the 2019 World Championships. It's been a all in all a good season, I'd say, some good racing. I've got Steve Randall alongside me. He'll be joining for the final race of this year. Steve, what do you expect from this race?
I think this race is going to be another cracker. Hopefully Stuart can do what he did in the first race, get away from the gate, make the gate, get away and stay out in the front. It will be difficult. Of course, the new world champion wants to go out with a bang, so he will want to put on a good performance for this race. There you see Stuart and Josh just putting on the start device.
Just to his left is his son Jake Brown, who qualified second. He is partnered by Joe Millard, who joined me for the last race commentary. Thumbs up all round from Jake Brown. He is looking forward to this race, I can assure you. He'll be looking to try and go with the leaders, because last time in the first race, he kind of had a bit of a lonely race there in fourth. So he'll be looking for some good battles and get his elbows out to try and make his way up the field.
I spoke with Joe in between races, and Joe's just said it was such a lonely race in there, he was getting bored. So I've given him a few things to think about whilst he's going around this track, like what colour is he going to paint the bedroom this winter, and what else he's going to do.
What can I have for tea tonight?
There you go.
Final preparations then for the gate. That is the number 38 pairing. Is Peter Kolenchek and Matej Hejal, the Czech pairing. Peace. So yeah, final preparations there just to make sure the machine has enough drive to launch them towards the first corner. There is the pairing in third in the championship, Kern Hermans, Nicolas Mousset. He's making some adjustments to the rear of the machine, it would seem. Dan Foden, Paul Horton. There's a new passenger this weekend for Dan Foden. He's also had to swap from the right-hand side chair to the left, because of course Paul Horton being English, that is what he would be used to in that nation. Swiss pairing Christoph Kusch, Maxime Kusch also. They've also got the left chair. It seems as though the British and Swiss pairings always go for the left chair. Is that just kind of what happens in the respective countries?
It's the way it's been since we started racing sidecars. The Swiss have been predominantly left with the same as us, and everybody else has gone right.
Okay, so a bit of diversity in the field there, as you can see. Marvin van Leeuwenaar and Ben van den Boogaard. They'll be looking to try and make the break. Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax, that is just warming up. So Robbie Bax coming back from injury as well. I think it was a scapular issue for Robbie Bax there, so he'll be looking to go out with a bang as well. French pair in there, that's Bastien Thomas and Rodolphe Le Breton on the number 20 bike.
Quick starters.
They were up inside the top three for a good chunk of the beginning of the first race. They'll be looking to maintain that pace throughout the race. Julian Veldman, Sam Veldman. Hopefully Sam Veldman hasn't sustained too much of an injury that will hamper his performance in this race. Of course, it's 30 minutes plus the 2 laps, as always. Gert van Verven, Larry Kunas. Again, another new passenger out in the field there. Larry Kunas, of course, did not start the season with Gert. However, they seem to be going well this weekend. British pairing, George Kinge, Lewis Gray. Now, that's a bit of a strange one, I'd say. They've gone more towards the left, despite the fact they've got the left-hand chair. We'll have to see how that pans out for them in the early stages.
It's because of their gate pick in the qualification, so they've had to follow through.
Okay, there is the number 7 machine of Kurt Varick and Loris Didas. So we've got the 15-second board in the air already. Tensions rise, 5 seconds. Everybody puts their weight towards the front. We wait for the gates to drop for the final time of 2019. Who is going to get the best drive? Let's have a look, guys. Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain on the inside. Once again, they've made the whole shot. Kern Hermans and Nicolas Mousset also there up into 2nd place. Christophe and Maxime Couche have put their Swiss machine up into 3rd. That is Bastien Thomas and Rudolf Le Breton up into 4th. Etienne Bax and Casper Stupelis once again not making a very good start, but at the front it's Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain. They took their first heat victory earlier on today for this year. Can they make a repeat performance, Steve?
Well, let's hope they can. If they've got out of the gate the way they did, let's hope they can get away and break this pack behind them. It will be nice to see. I'm looking through the pack now to see if I can see Bax. Bax maybe down is sort of 7, 8. There he goes through.
Yes, he's just going up the inside of Bastien Thomas and Rudolf Le Breton. You can see Le Breton take a long look over his right shoulder as they navigate the left-hander for the first time. So up towards the far right-hand hairpin before the run down. They go down a jump and then into the right-hander before going down again. And once more, as you can see, Etienne Bax and Casper Stupelis. Now already they've got a fair amount of clear track ahead of them. You can see the amount of dust already being kicked up. There's Kern Hermans and Nicolas Mousset. They'll be looking to try and make the break ahead of the Swiss pairing to catch up to the earlier race winners of Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain.
And it looks as though Jake didn't have a very good start either. So there you see the Couch cousins, the Swiss pairing. Behind them is Bax then goes through Thomas, then Deakins, then Brown Jr. Compolati goes through, Varick goes through. So Stuart Brown Sr., then Hermans, then Couch, then Bax. That is your 4.
You can see Maxime just take a look over his right shoulder as they come around the left-hander. He will get a faceful of number 82 as they are all over the rear wheel at the end of lap 1. They've just got one more ski jump and then back across the line onto lap 2. Etienne Bax and Casper Stupelis, they're going to try and go around the outside to get the driver to square the corner off. You can see how close he was to the apex as he's knocking down the barriers. As he made the move, it looks as though he has. So Etienne Bax and Casper Stupelis up into 3rd place. They'll be looking to tag on to the back of Kern Hermans and Nicolas Mousset.
Now this could get interesting between Bax and Hermans. We'll see if the youngster Hermans can keep the new world champions at bay.
So there they are, 2019 world champions. We heard earlier that Etienne, despite winning the championship, he is still going all out for this race. He wants the 25 points. He wants to go for the win.
Yeah, so you know yourself, these races are races. They're here to ride. They're here to race. There's nothing better than finishing on top of the podium.
Marvin van Lukener and Ben van der Bogart, they're all over the rear wheel of the French and Italian pairing. Of course, not in that order. It's Zeno Compolati, the Italian. That is Bastien Chopin just beside him.
As we said earlier as well in the previous broadcast, if you were with us, Zeno's had some cracking rides the past couple of Grand Prix, but this week he went to the hospital suffering with a poorly leg and has found out that he has a hairline fracture to the tibia.
We keep saying it, but the amount of strength and determination that these guys have to, despite the fractures, go out and race these machines at full chat is something to behold for sure. I mean, especially over this tabletop jump that you'll see Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain come flying over. The amount of strain that will go through your bones, your muscles, as well as the machine is just off the scale.
Exactly. Now this could be interesting then. What is Bax going to do? Bax will get the playbook out and have a look, and Hermans makes a mistake. But Hermans shuts the door back.
Kern Hermans and Nicolas Mousset, they know that Etienne Bax is breathing down their neck. Etienne Bax, will he go to the outside and square the corner off as he did previous time round with the Couche cousins? It looks as though Hermans has got the better drive. but of course using the berm and taking the inside line as well. Etienne Bax, they're side by side as they come over the rollers. Who is it going to be as they head into the right-hander? Hermans has the inside line. Bax wants to go around the outside. It's still Hermans ahead, defending well ahead of the 2019 World Champions. Koen Hermans, Nicolas Mousset, all over the rear wheel. They have Etienne Bax and Casper Stupelis. As I said earlier, they want to go for the win, and they're doing all that they can to put themselves ahead of the Frenchman and Dutchman.
And of course there, then Bax just up the backside of Mousset, give him a bump up the bump. And it goes wide, Hermans goes wide, but goes for the dirt. As you can see, the inside line is rather slippery. The blue groove is really starting to show. Bax not be able to get the power on.
Bax is going to go try to make the move up the inside, but there's not enough room to fit these sidecars side by side, especially when the gap is as small as that. Koen Hermans over the jump, Etienne Bax over the jump. They go into the left, right, and back over a jump once more. That's how physical this track is. That's how demanding that this track is. Koen Hermans and Nicolas Mousset doing all that they can to keep Etienne Bax and Casper Stupelis at bay. And right behind them, Christophe and Maxime Couche, the Swiss pairing. They've not lost touch. They're still keeping up a good pace.
And of course, with these two fighting tooth and nail together, it is allowing Stuart and Josh to get away in front.
The gap was 6 seconds as they came across the line last time around.
And Jake Millard's come into play also with the Couche boys.
So Jake Brown, Joe Millard all over the rear wheel of Christophe and Maxime Couche. It's Switzerland versus England. There's Koen Hermans and Etienne Bax. There's nothing separating these two as they come around the final part of the circuit.
Again, Hermans makes the mistake.
Of course, going to the outside, that gives Hermans the better drive down into the bowl, and also the inside line, which is vital, especially as you've got to get the good drive and open up the throttle as early as you can. Etienne Bax and Casper Stupelis, they've got the inside line. They're side by side once more. It still looks as though Koen Hermans and Nicolas Mousset are still in front as they come over the rollers once more.
Yeah, Hermans has learned the little trick from Bax. Bax has been trying to come through the inside, so Hermans shut the door.
Etienne Bax has better drive. Etienne Bax got the better drive, but he had nowhere to go as Koen Hermans was all over the front of him. But they're side by side once more. This is unbelievable stuff. Etienne Bax and Casper Stupelis trying to find their way around the outside of Koen Hermans and Nicolas Mousset. They're trying to get the drive and use the berm once more. They'll cut to the inside. Koen Hermans goes wide. Etienne Bax up the inside. I think he's got it this time. Yeah. He's took the line away from the Dutch and Frenchman. So at the moment, Etienne Bax now promotes himself. He's made a mistake. He's made a mistake. Koen Hermans, Nicolas Mousset trying to make advantage of the mistake that Etienne Bax just did. But I don't think he's going to do that just now. So, Etienne Bax, we heard him say he wants to go with the leaders. They are now about 8 seconds up the road. He has clear track. He wants to go. He wants to take the final 25 points on offer for this season.
So, Etienne Bax then has taken the place of Koen Hermans. Then you have the Couche cousins and Brown Millard. Again, Jake Brown and Joe Millard had a fantastic end of the season. They would like to finish off with another good score here. So as we wait for them to come back into view then, there's Bax, there's Hermans.
Next up we'll see the Couche cousins. There's the Couche cousins, as you say, yeah, Jake Brown and Joe Millard. I'll get it the right way around in the end. Jake Brown and Joe Millard, they've had some good form in the previous rounds. They're looking to put themselves ahead of Christophe and Maxime Couche. Over the line, it was 10 seconds between Stuart Brown and Etienne Bax. Koen Hermans and Nicolas Mousset still ahead of the Couche cousins. Jake Brown, Joe Millard, but Arnie Deakins is coming. Arnie Deakins is made up ground. He is trying to make up as much time as possible to put himself onto the rear of Jake Brown and Joe Millard.
And of course, just behind them is Van Lukkenen as well. So this will become a very large freight train shortly. Jake goes out of shot. Deakins just comes into shot.
One man who has lost a fair bit of ground that time around was Bastien Thomas and Rudolph Le Breton. They lost 2 places. that time around. Compilati and Chopin up inside the top 10 ahead of Van Verben and Finnish passenger Larry Kunas. Jake Brown and Joe Millard doing all they can to try and find a way past the Cousins. Oh, what's going on here?
Herman's got a problem.
Koen Hermans and Nicolas Mousset, they were running third, but now they're down into fourth, fifth, sixth.
Sidecar wheel.
Oh, you can see it flaying about there as they come over the jump. So no, that's it, the race over. Race over for Koen Hermans and Nicolas Mousset.
By the time they get that back to the paddock or back to the pits to change that, this could be...
You can see it getting progressively worse.
Yeah.
Now, Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax.
As long as they don't lose it.
So will they pull off into this little chicane here? Let's wait and see. No, they don't.
They will just keep going. Because again, they're holding everybody up behind them. It's fair game.
It's
fair game.
They're not a lap rider, so to all intents and purposes, that is their position.
Exactly.
They can defend it as hard as they want. So, what kind of issue would that be? Would that just be a loose nut, a wheel bearing, something along those lines?
Yeah, whether the wheel nut has come undone. The wheel nut on the inside of the sidecar is left-hand thread. So it's an opposite thread to a normal one, and sometimes they do come undone if they're not checked correctly. It looks as though to me then the nut has come off on the inside.
Let's see what kind of adjustments. Yeah.
So if they
are they putting a new wheel on?
Oh, so bearings have broke up then. So then that has given Millard and Brown a bit of breathing space.
Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax, they are just ahead of Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart. They're not quite where they'd want to be. They were sixth coming across the line, but as you can see on the screen, they're there right on the rear wheel of Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax.
And as you can see, it takes a long time to put these sidecar wheels on.
You just hear the machine there ticking over as it's on its side, trying to change this sidecar wheel to put themselves back out into the race.
So that is just unfortunate. These things happen with these machines. They are highly tuned engines and frames, wheels, mechanical. Things can happen. So we watch Marvin van Lukener as Hermans go back out.
So Varrick is in 8th, Van Verben and Kunas in 9th. I'm looking out for Julian and Sam Veldman, trying to see whereabouts they are. So, because, of course, the 16-year-old passenger, he was injured ever so slightly in race 1, and there you can see on the screen going past in 12th place. So there is Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax. Just behind them is Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart.
Now I'm just looking with that. Will that change the positions between Hermans and Deakins?
I'm not the best of man.
I will keep my eye out.
We had a yellow flag just at that chicane there, and just over in the distance, as you can see on the screen there. Jake Brown and Joe Millard jumping into our shop. Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax up next. Number 1, Marvin van Lukener, Ben van den Bogart. They're chasing hard on the back of Arnie Deakins. They're trying to make up as much ground as possible. So we're already across the line. Stuart Brown, Josh Chamberlain, sorry. Etienne Bax, Casper Stuplis, 15 3/4 seconds behind. Christophe Maxime Couche third. Brown Millard fourth. Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax fifth. And as you can see, right behind them, Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart. It looks as though they've got more pace in some parts of the circuit, but towards the final part, it is Arnie Deakins who's got the better lines and the better feel for the track, I would say, as he can pull out a slight advantage over the number 1 plate holder.
And it all depends how long Robbie can sustain. He's still carrying a slight injury to his right shoulder.
Plunging down into the trees once more. Arnie Deakins, Robbie Bax taking a long look over his shoulder. Marvin van Lukener, Ben van den Bogart are all over the rear wheel. Robbie Bax will be, would you say, will be communicating with Arnie, saying, "Come on, pull out your finger, we need to go"?
They do communicate, but you normally just tend to leave your driver to get on with it unless he makes a mistake or you're not happy with something. Because
we see earlier with Kurt Varrick and Loris Diders,
for sure.
He made his feelings very well known.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And again there, Couch is definitely holding up Millard and Brown.
This will be very frustrating for Jake Brown. They know they have more pace, but with the characteristics of the track, it's just so difficult to make up positions. He's going to have to go off of his preferred line and make a move, perhaps a block pass, I suspect.
Yeah, he's going to have to be brutal. And of course, while these two are playing, Cooch is holding them up. These two are catching. These two are going to join them very shortly.
Of course, Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax. Now this looks as though this is their territory over Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart. Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain, another dominant performance. Earlier on we saw them take their first victory of the season, and they're looking to repeat that performance here in race 2, and they're doing a pretty good job of it. 17 seconds is the advantage for the British pairing, ahead of the Dutch and Latvian pairing of Bax and Stupilis, the 2019 world champions.
And of course, with only 14 and a bit minutes to go, Bax has got to do something superfluous and amazing to get onto the back wheel of Brown and Chamberlain.
Look at them locking up the rear wheel going into turn 1. Does that just pitch the sidecar so it's more towards the apex so you can get the drive?
Yep, that's right. It just break the back end out just to get it to slide so that the driver then can put the power on. It's square and you could just drive it away.
And that's what Marvin van Lukener is trying to do. You can see him locking up the rear wheel so he can spin the sidecar around and get the better drive to try and overcome the number 10 plate holder, Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax. But Arnie Deakins is making that sidecar as wide as possible so that they don't have to lose their position. So
there you go.
Yeah,
you can see the gap.
Jake Brown and Joe Millard there, and the Cooch cousins also. They still haven't found a way past. We've got a yellow flag. Let's see what happens. I didn't see who that was. The Cooch cousins are through. Jake Brown is through.
I'll have a look. Barrick's gone through. That's who I thought it might have been.
There is Arnie Deakins. There is Marvin van Lukener over the top once more. 13 and a bit minutes to go. So just from a visual point of view, this part of the track looks incredible. It's just so, from one apex to the other, over a jump, back into an apex.
And again, you can see here, Jake is getting frustrated. He's got to be careful.
He'll be cursing the Cooch cousins.
You cannot afford to lose concentration.
Especially at this level of the game as well. Seconds are an eternity.
Yep. And these boys, the last thing you want to do is touch, make a mistake, stall the machine. You want to get past.
And of course, while you're behind someone you deem a slower rider, you're getting into their rhythm. So
exactly. Big over jump there from Jake. As you can see, he's getting frustrated. He needs to just calm his head, collect his thoughts, and he needs to attack. You can see by his riding style, it's very aggressive now.
He's going to throw everything at this to try and catch up to the Swiss Cooch cousins.
And the gap now is coming down between them, Deakins and Van Lukener. So this, in a minute, will be 4 sidecars.
This will be an 8-wheeler. You can see Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart. The front wheel slightly crabbing as they exit the left-hander at turn 2. Jake Brown and Joe Millard, they will be, as I say, they will be cursing Christoph Cooch because he knows that he has got quicker pace than the Cooch cousins in front of him. However, with the competition as tight as what it is, it's so difficult to try and make a move, and especially on a track like this as well.
It is going to be very difficult, very difficult.
So, yeah, Jake Brown and Joe Millard not very happy with what is going on in front of them. That means that Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax can gain on them, and that of course will mean that Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart will be all over the rear wheel of them also. They are equaling the pace of Arnie Deakins, so this, as Steve says, will be a 8-wheeler any moment soon. So Arnie Deakins over the top, Marvin van Lukener once more over the top also. Compilati and Chopin inside the top 10. Kalenchik Hechal 11th. Feldman Brothers 12th. Cuban and Mant 13th. Heinzer and Betchart from their second row start in 14th, ahead of Gary Moulds and Brian Anthony. Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax still fending off Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart. So Arnie Deakins over towards the far side of the circuit. Just a tight right-hander that will bring them back into view and into our shots.
I will watch the bottom of the screen to see what the time goes through between Brown and Bax.
Christoph and Maxime going into the left-hander. You can see Joe Millard putting all his weight onto the inside to try and push the machine into the apex. Just coming down into the final left-hand bowl. Christoph and Maxime Kusch up over the ski jump. Jake Brown and Joe Millard, they've definitely gained time on that lap. Arnie Deakins still fending off Marvin van Lukener. Again, you can see the rear wheel locking up on Jake Brown to try and get that machine turned. So good racing for the top 3 to get the final podium position and the 20 points. And I'll tell you, lap by lap, that gap is closing between 3rd, 4th, 5th and 6th.
This Jake really needs to make a move soon. Otherwise, he's going to get left now this time. Round the inside, perhaps.
Or he's going to try to square the corner off and go to the outside. That means he'll carry more corner speed as they go towards the top. He's moved to the inside. He's going to push him wide and snatch the line off of Christoph and Maxime Kusch. Jake Brown, Joe Millard up into 3rd place. Christoph and Maxime Kusch 4th. And look who's there. It's Arnie Deakins and Marvin van Lukener. So as you predicted a couple laps ago, they're all over the rear wheel. So now this is a 4-way freight train for the final podium. Zino Compilati, Bastien Chopin. Not sure how that's happened, but that's a very unfortunate way to end the season, or end the race at least, for Zino and Bastien.
And it looks as though it's down in that nasty little bowl just off the start, but we'll have a look in a minute. As you can see now, Kusch then coming under pressure.
And already look at the advantage that Jake Brown's gained. He's had half a lap, and he's already multiple seconds in front. Arnie Deakins making his way past Christoph and Maxime Kusch.
Yeah,
that was relatively easy for them to get by.
I think Kusch now has just come to the end of his tether. Again, not jumping that big jump. So that's unfortunate for the Italian and French pairing. Thankfully, the pair are okay.
That's not the way they wanted to end their season.
That's not the way they wanted to end it either.
So yeah, especially after the form they showed back in Belgium when they got their first podium, especially for an Italian as well.
Exactly.
So not a good way to end the 2019 season. They will go home, regroup and come back even stronger, I'm sure, for next year.
And just looking at that gap then across the bottom of the screen, Brown, Chamberlain and Bax is out to almost 17 seconds. So that is a phenomenal ride. And we could have 2 Browns on the podium, which would be interesting.
Marvin van Lukener I don't think he landed that jump quite as he wanted to. You can see the machine just kind of jumped to the left before he moved to the right-hand side for the apex. But Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax just in front of him. Oh, we've got the number 20
Bastien
machine.
Thomas. That's Thomas.
So Bastien Thomas and Rudolf Le Breton. Can't quite see who that is on the ground. I don't know if
that was the passenger. That was Rudolf.
So lots of mistakes and lots of crashes as well in this race.
It's been a hot day. It's been a long weekend. It's been a long season, and unfortunately, slip of concentration.
That's all it takes. That's all it takes, especially as I keep saying, at this level of the game, when you're fighting the best sidecar cross riders in the world. Seconds are an eternity. Concentration is everything. And you just have to go out and give it all 110%.
So there you see Jake Brown just through the shot. Arnie Deakins then coming up to a back marker. Again, just right in the wrong place. Slightly hold him up, which will allow Jake to get away.
Marvin van, oh, that was a bit squirrely there from Marvin van Lukener. He got that hooked up all wrong, but he managed to recover. He may have lost a little bit of time. However, he is regrouped and he will try again and catch up to Jake Brown as well as Arnie Deakins also.
So there's Deakins, Bax, there is Van Luken and Bogart. Bogart 4 times world champion. Marvin 1-time world champion. They ride together again next year. I believe the same machinery. We will wait and see. So we have a Brown in first, a Brown in third. I will try and work out the points and see what happens.
Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax still in fourth, fending off Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart. Kusch Cousins down in 6th place. They've lost a bit of time. They are 6 seconds ahead of the Estonian and Latvian of Kurt Barrick and Loris Dieders. As you say, Brown and Millard, or as you say, yeah, Brown in first, Brown in third. They'll be happy to come away with a double podium for the Brown family.
And of course, Deakins didn't score points in the first race. So there's a possibility that we could get Jake on the podium as well. As we go back to the lonely leader, the Macclesfield carpenter and the Wokingham tree surgeon, Josh Chamberlain, resplendent in their wolf gear, Arai helmets on the Cradley Kawasaki-backed machine, Pro Seal machine.
They'll be loving this, the final 5 minutes plus the 2 laps. They'll be loving it. They'll take the confidence from race 1, and they've definitely used that to their advantage for the second race, as is evident with a 20-second lead as they come around the final part of the circuit. That looks like Norman Brown holding up the pit board. So as we mentioned earlier, the Brown dynasty going very well throughout the years and the decades.
Oh no, Stuart's looking down. What was Stuart looking at? He again looks down.
Let's hope it's not too serious. We'll keep an eye on that one. He is 20 seconds in hand.
Just trying to think what's on the inside.
It can't be a steering damper, because by now we'd have seen him pull out.
It's more down by his feet, so it's either a gear shift. It's either the gear shift. On the inside would be the gear shift. From an AMS engine would be the gear shift. And there is Bax and Stupilis. 20 seconds is the gap between them and Brown in front.
If there is an issue for Stuart Brown, he'll, of course, he won't pull in, not with the advantage and the position that he is in now. He will ride around fairly relaxed, so to speak, and to try and limit the damage that the...
Again, if it's a gear shift that it's not going in and out of gear, it's stuck in a reasonable gear, Brown here should be okay. Should be.
Should be, in theory. Let's hope so.
Let's hope it wasn't. May have been a stone or a clump of mud or something up underneath the gear shift, so he hasn't been able to change up or down. But we will wait and see.
Only time will tell. Etienne Bax and Casper Stupilis up over the top again, going towards the halfway point of the racetrack. As we say, 20 seconds is the gap between Brown and Chamberlain. Jake Brown, Joe Millard, 34 seconds behind again. Arnie Deakins, Robbie Bax, still fending off Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart. Inside the top 10 now is Heinzer and Vetschart. It looks as though the gap is closing between Brown and van Lukener. We'll have to wait and see. They're going to encounter a slower pairing.
I think that's going out slightly between Jake and Deakins and van Lukener. So hopefully we can go back to the leader and I can get a good look. Jake made a mistake there.
It looks as though they're going to encounter the Hrop pairing, the Czech pairing on number 21. You'll see them come into view over the tabletop jump. And indeed, it is the Hrop pairing. Just behind them is Jake Brown and Joe Millard.
Big over jump again from Jake.
Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax still fending off Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart. Now you can see Marvin van Lukener, the machine kind of skewed to the left, so Ben would have to counteract that. How would he counteract that with his position on the bike?
Just with his position on the bike, with his feet, with his foot or his feet, and also with his shoulders and hands. You just learn how the bike reacts, and you just react to it yourself. There we go. Van Lukener looks for the inside then this time. So can Van Lukener quick look across to see if he's clear?
Well, that was a clean overtake there from Van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart to put themselves ahead of Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax. So it just carries so much more speed coming out of the turn 2 and over the rollers especially. And that is putting him up into 4th place now, relegating Deakins and Robbie Bax down to 5th. Koosh Cousins coming under pressure from Varick and Diders into the closing stages. The gap is about 4 seconds or so between those two. Is that Hrop just going slowly on the outside?
Yeah, so just moving out of the way.
Hrop doing a good job moving out of the way of the leading bikes. So just coming up to the 1 minute mark. Of course, we will have the 2 laps after this as well. As Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax almost nosedive coming off of the jump. Towards the latter part of the circuit they go.
So I was just racking through my brains, going through my infantry. And I think if Stuart, or when Stuart finished this race in the lead, the last time he had an overall was 2016 in Roggenberg.
Wow, so over 3 years ago for an overall win for the British pairing. So this will mean something special for Stuart and Josh.
Certainly will.
So we've got 20 seconds left, and we can just see Marvin van Luken coming over the top there. So they will get 3 more laps.
Yeah, so they missed the 2 board this time. So 3 laps to go, including this one.
There we go, Marvin van Luken and Ben Vanden Bogart. This will be the last time they run with the #1 plate, of course, for at least a year. So they'll be looking to go out on a high. They're doing fairly good in 4th place.
The gap between Brown, Jake and Van Luken is coming down.
About 5 seconds last time around, was it? And with 3 laps left for these guys here,
it's coming down quickly.
This will pose for an interesting couple of last laps. We'll have to see how Jake Brown can react, because I can assure you the pit board will be saying that the gap is closing. There is Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain just navigating their way around the latter part of this circuit, coming over the jump, then into the quick right uphill left chicane-esque corner. So 19.2 seconds. Whatever issue that Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain thought they had, it doesn't seem to have hampered their...
No, it doesn't. It seems to be okay. So my personal thinking was perhaps a stone or a clod of mud stuck up underneath the gear shift and wouldn't change. Quick look across to the right-hand side to see where Bax is. But what a fantastic, dominant ride this pair have all weekend.
Exactly, right from the gates on Saturday when they qualified on pole position, now to take both wins if he carries on the way he has. There is the 2 laps left board, so there's 2 more circulations of this 1.6 kilometre circuit, and then Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain will see the checkered flag and take home 50 points for, as you say, the first time in 3 years.
I'm pretty sure it's 3 years, I'm pretty sure. In fact, I'll bet you a beer I'm right.
Yep, I'm happy with that. Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain just making their way around the far part of the circuit. You can see the crowd also happy for the British pairing, giving them a round of applause as they come around for the penultimate time of this race and also the year.
It's been a very tough year for everybody. We've seen some fantastic racing. We hope you've enjoyed some fantastic racing. All those guys that have got injured through the year, Peter Bunk especially, you, my friend, get well soon with your ankle. Glenn Janssens, who injured last week. And of course, to my superhero, Valentin Giraud. Keep up your good work, my friend. Keep strong, keep smiling, and we all love you.
There is Julian and Sam Veldman just moving out the way of race leaders Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain. So despite the injuries that Sam may have sustained during the first race, this will be vital experience for the 16-year-old going into potentially next year, and of course future seasons as well. Because if you can ride at the pace that these guys have been doing, and you're only 16, of course you want to get snatched up by a good team.
Yeah, of course. And the team he rides with, Tim Lefferink, that he rides with in the Dutch Championship, is another youngster coming through. Perhaps if they can stay together. So, the last 2 minutes of the 2019 FIM Sidecar Cross.
1 lap left then for Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain before they can come back across the line for the final time of the year.
Go on, Sam, hold in there, son. Keep going.
No, race 1, it was this part of the circuit where Sam Veldman
fell out.
He fell out, and instead of course, letting go, which is the best thing to do, he did what anybody with instinct would do, and just to hold on.
And these back of these sidecars have got what they call a sand rail. They are a row of teeth, and they are sharp, and you will only do it the once. So, Stuart Brown, Josh Chamberlain, 16 times British champion, 6 times for Josh.
Such a dominant display they've shown throughout the weekend. I mean, I know
Absolutely.
we've said it, but to go from pole to a dominant first race win to an even more dominant second race win.
Absolutely. And that AMS 4-stroke engine of Glenn Woodman's has not missed a beat all weekend. Of course, Glenn Woodman is renowned for building these big 4-stroke engines. He has had World Championship titles with the likes of Ben Adriaansen, winning the 2 on his engines. Of course, with Jan Hendricks also. Fortunately, Stuart is not winning the world title this year. Hopefully, he can stay with us and ride again next year.
It'd be incredible to see, especially showing how the young guns how to do it.
Yeah.
There is George Kinge and Lewis Gray just in front of Etienne Bax and Casper Stupelis. So just a couple more corners to go for the 2019 World Sidecarcross Championships. Just coming over the top there, Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain. You can see the British fans waving their flags in delight. That is Gary Moles and Brian Anthony moving out of the way.
That's a fantastic.
They know they've got this in the bag. Just one more jump to go for Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain before they can take 25 points and both wins and the overall, of course.
That is an amazing feat. That man there, believe it or not, is 44 years old.
So a brilliant win for Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain. 2019 World Champions Etienne Bax and Casper Stupelis. They went one better than what they did in race 1, but they could not match the dominant display of Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain.
It will be interesting now to see where Jake...
Another Brown on the podium as well. Jake Brown, Joe Millard put themselves into 3rd place. So despite the best efforts of #1 plate holders for the final time at the moment.
Whether they get on the podium for the overall, I'll have to quickly do some tot up and try and find out.
I will leave that down to you. I can imagine your maths is better than mine, especially with the point system, which I'm not familiar with. But Van Lukener and Van den Boogaard, 4th place, and Arnie Deakins and Robbie Bax in 5th place. Kurt Varick and Loris Dide is just coming across the line there to take home 6th. What an incredible weekend it's been for Stuart Brown and Josh Chamberlain. Nobody could touch them in the end. There you can see him. Look how much he has to work. There's so much sweat. He'd have to rehydrate himself, especially under this 24 or so degree heat that we've got here in Germany. So there is Josh Chamberlain also just taking his helmet off, getting some air. Congratulated by Marvin Van Lukener there. Also Etienne Bax, Casper Stupelis coming home in 3rd place. That was Casper's just saying well done to Stuart Brown.
Stuart, congratulations. This has been an incredibly perfect weekend for you. Starting from yesterday, qualifying day, 2 race wins, haul shots. It's just amazing. How are you feeling? It's been a few years since you had 1-1 victory.
Yeah, it's a long time now, but we felt the last few weeks have been going good and the speed's been good, but it just hasn't gone our way somehow. But today everything was perfect. 3 good starts in the quali race as well. So yeah, couldn't be any better.
Also, you've moved up in overall standings. Are you happy about that?
Oh yeah, really happy. We didn't expect that one bit really. We come here, we're just open-minded and try to finish really after the last few weeks we've had. But yeah, I'd like to obviously thank Josh. He's the best left passenger, you know. So he's so strong. He's rode with a broken wrist halfway through the year, so he's superb. And everybody else who's helped me.
Well, congratulations. Enjoy your victory.
Thanks very much.
So that's something I didn't know. Josh Chamberlain rode half season with a broken wrist. Wow.
He broke his scaphoid in Roggenburg.
Oh, the scaphoid as well. It's right where you rotate around the arm as well.
Yeah, he really struggled for a couple of races after that.
Etienne, congratulations. 2nd place overall. I know walking into the weekend you kind of wanted to do the 1-1 and finish the season in style, like you said. Are you happy with the results, and how do you feel finishing season 2019 like this?
Yeah, I feel quite okay. Of course, we wanted to win here, of course, like every week. But you know, we had quite a hectic week so far. So with parties and everything. So yeah, it is not so easy, and we came a little bit less unprepared here than normally. So, okay, it was our own fault, and we know what to do for next year. But you know, second overall is quite okay, and we are happy for sure when all the people are watching in my home city in Bergijk. They watch in the cafe. So hi to everybody.
Well, congratulations.
Yeah, it's been an amazing year. So here are your bronze medalists.
There is Nicolas Mousset in front, Kern Hermans just behind. Don't know if you'll be able to see, but yeah, Nicolas Mousset riding a bit wounded with his foot/ankle injury he sustained.
Yeah, it was pretty poor this morning when I looked at it and taped him. So they will receive the bronze medal. All these boys receive medals. And then Etienne and Kaspers go to Monaco to the FIM Gala, which all the top motorsport world champions go to.
Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart, the 2019 runner-up position goes to them. So despite the fact they will have to leave the #1 plate for this year, they'll be looking to come back stronger next year, I am sure.
For sure, yeah. So the pairing are very strong.
They're very strong and working together for next year. But one man who was stronger, that was Etienne Bax and Kaspers Stuplis, as they are crowned 2019 world champions. And they will be delighted with that as well. I believe it's Etienne's 3rd title. I don't know what it is for Kaspers. I don't know if you know off the top of your head, Steve, but certainly multiple.
I think it's 4. And this is his 19th year as a passenger.
multiple world championships go the way of Etienne and Kaspers.
So 19 years doing this sport as a passenger is some phenomenal feat. He hardly looks as though he's broke a sweat. The lovable Latvian. It's a fantastic guy.
Just the amount of fitness that these guys have to go out there, risk everything, and then injure themselves in the process as well, and then still come back as strong as what they have.
So there's the gold plates. So I think there will be a few beers drunk this evening in the paddock.
I would say a few is a bit of an understatement, to say the least.
I will be joining them.
That sounds like a good plan.
So there are the bronze medals from one of the FIM delegates. I do apologise. I don't know the gentleman's name.
There is the runner-up medal going to Marvin van Lukener and Ben van den Bogart. So as I say, they runner-up this time around. They'll be looking to come back stronger for next year. They are working together next year and racing together. That is confirmed for the 2020 season.
And of course, say the rumour has it that the gentleman to Kasper's left, Nico Mousset, will be stood where Kaspers is next year, but that is just rumour.
Und zu Ehren des Weltmeisters bitte ich die niederländische Nationalhymne.
So we will leave you with these pictures for a couple of seconds in the national anthem.
There you go, the national anthem being played aloud there for everyone to hear. So Etienne Bax and Casper Stuplis, they'll be very happy with their championship win. I can very much assure everybody of that.
Koen, congratulations, 3rd place overall in World Championship this year. After 14 rounds, are you satisfied with your results?
This year was not really good for us. We are still 3rd at the end of the season, but I think it could be a lot better this year, but we had a lot of bad luck, so yeah, I'm happy it was not injuries, so that's still good. And yeah, I hope I can have a better year next year with Glenn Janssens. I'm looking really forward for this.
Last year you were 2nd, this year you're 3rd. Is this a good motivation to like keep pushing and finally maybe get that championship title?
Yeah, because now I have the other ones. Now I miss only one, and it's gold. And yeah, I will go for this next year for sure.
Well, good luck.
Okay, so Kern Hermans there, as he says, he had a lot of bad luck this year. I mean, one that sticks out in my mind is the clutch issues that he has had, and also the steering damper went in Belgium in round 12 when he was running fairly strong as well.
Yeah. That
put him down into. He's also the last chance that round, yeah. So that was one to forget for Kern Hermans and Nicolas Mousset.
Yeah, so, for sure. And again, it just goes to show what this motorsport is. You know, again, we saw him there with the sidecar wheel. Anything in this sport can happen. So we are down into the Parc Fermé with Jeva, with Marvin van Leukenen.
Marvin, let's start with this weekend. Can you believe it's the 14th round and podium finish? Do you think it's a good way to finish the season off?
Yeah, for sure. Always better than don't stay on the podium. But yeah, 2nd race, we had the problems like yeah, the most of the season, a bad start, and it's not so easy to pass here. So I was thinking about an overall winning, but yeah, Brown was the one too strong this weekend. So yeah, we will be happy with the 3rd place.
And 2nd place in World Championship, you had to give up your champion title to Etienne Bax and Casper Stuplis. Is this a good motivation for next season? Because I know you're staying together with Ben. Are you guys ready to fight for it again?
Yeah, for sure. I think you will see we fight always. We had some problems in the beginning of the season, and we find some problems. So yeah, we are happy with the end of the season. We had I think a strong 2nd half of the season. So yeah, we're looking forward for next year, and we will fight for sure for the title.
Well, enjoy your off season and see you next year.
Thank you.
Okay, so Marvin van Leukenen and Ben van den Bogart having to give over their #1 plate for next year, because that would go the way of Etienne Bax and Casper Stuplis. So all in all, it's been a brilliant season, and let's see how it pans out in the future.
So, thank you very much, Bradley. It's been a fantastic weekend. It's been fantastic working with you. Thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. We will see you again in 2020. My name is Steve Randall. Be safe and look after yourselves.
And from me, Bradley Hicks, thank you for listening and enjoying the racing. We will hopefully see you shortly in the future.
Williamson is 10 times the world champion. Bax and Stupilis, they've done it again. Unbelievable. Marvin van Lukener certainly deserves the red plate. And what an incredible sport this is. Fast, high and spectacular. Unbelievable.